Hello and welcome to Get to Know Them podcast. This is a podcast in which I'm gonna talk with some of the world's highest performers in order to learn more about them. I'm your host, Cameron Shuligoy. I hope you enjoy. Hi, who do we get to know today?
Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm a German pro triathlete and I'm very happy to be here.
Yes, I'm also very happy to talk to you, Sarah. Tell us a bit more about yourself. How did you start doing triathlon?
Oh, that's like a pretty long time ago when I was younger, like 12 years or even 11, I'm not sure. I did my first tiny little triathlon. It was a triathlon for school kids. And then I got more into it. But after a few years, I started an apprenticeship and then I went straight to university afterwards. So life got more busy. And yeah, then right when Corona hit us here in Germany, I had so much time left next to university because wasn't a lot of time for any other spare time activities. So yeah, I trained even more. And after COVID, I did my first middle distance, and 1 year later, already started as a pro athlete, and yeah, it was like more like not really planned to be where to go this way. Yeah, this was the shortcut.
Yeah, that's a very interesting story because you said that you started doing triathlon at a very early age. How did you get into triathlon as a child and not other more popular sports?
Ah, I did a lot of different kind of sports that time. So I did cross country skiing, started when I'm 5 years old, and I played tennis, and I started as well when I was 5 years old. Normal skiing, so like just downhill skiing, and I don't know if there is any sport that I didn't try. I played soccer and all of these things, and yeah, I was living a sporty and very active lifestyle for my whole life. And when I was like 10 to 12, no, 11 years old, a teacher just asked me whether I wanted to compete in a school triathlon, if I want to try it. Yeah, and this was like not really prepared. And I just tried, and it's an awesome sport. And then I somehow stick to it for 2 or 3 more years. And then I had to make a bigger pause due to other life responsibilities and like started again 4 years ago.
So how come you started doing triathlon again?
um because I always loved it. And so it's an awesome sport because you've got not only one discipline, you've got running, cycling, and swimming. And I moved to Nuremberg for university, and it's like popular city for doing triathlon because it's like 30 minutes away from Rot, where the famous challenge road takes part. And yeah, somehow I don't know if there was a real reason. I just started again, trained all by my own with my boyfriend, sometimes with my boyfriend or with friends, but most of the time I trained all by my own. And yeah, then I found this passion again. Yeah, that's just it. There was no real reason.
Okay, that's interesting. And what makes this story even more interesting is the fact that you are now a professional for a couple of years now, like you said. So how did you then decide to actually become a professional and to try this route?
To be honest, I'm like it was not really my decision. I feel like it was not really my decision. I did challenge Walchsee for my very first middle distance, and I just wanted to finish the race and to do this distance. And this year it was in, let me think, 2021, I guess, because afterwards I got pro, yeah, and it was European Championship. But I competed in the open race because otherwise you have to buy this special tri suit and everything. And I just competed as a normal age grouper in the open race. And then yeah, just did what I had. I didn't use any kind of power meter or stuff like this. I was just ride like you feel and everything. And then when I finished, I compared the times, and I finished as the second fastest woman, including the European age group championships, on my first middle distance race. Yeah, and then I thought, for this first race, it was quite good, I guess. Yeah, and afterwards I signed up for Allgau Triathlon, which is also a very famous race here in Germany. And I just wanted to try again and thought, okay, top 10 would be great. But like I finished the race and won the race with 5 minutes, 5 minutes gap, or was it even more? I'm not sure. I had a huge gap. Yeah, and afterwards there was one more race in this season. It was a triathlon in Ingolstadt, another middle distance, which was the Bavarian Championship, and I got second. No, I got third, but I got first in the age group ranking because there were two pros competing there. Yeah, and then Heike Funk, so Fred's mom, said to me, Sarah, I think you should try to go for this pro thing. And I was like, no, I can't, and I'm not good enough, and I don't think it's a good idea. And she was like, just try, compare your times with the times of the pros at these races. And you've got 1 year to train, and I'm sure it would be a good idea because you can collect prize money and stuff. So just try. Yeah, then I tried, and it turned out to be better than expected, and now I'm making my way for 3 years now.
Yeah, that's very impressive. And looking back now to the years that you've been a professional, what did you learn when you became a professional? And did this being a professional triathlete fulfill your expectations?
So I was a real rookie when I did my first pro race. I'm like, I don't know how to describe. So the first 2 years I trained all by my own without a coach. So this season was the first season I trained with a real coach with structured training. The 2 years before, it was always, I thought, this could work, or like however I trained however I wanted to. And like I told you before, I didn't use power meter or anything in the first season as a pro athlete. And yeah, I don't know what to say. I learned so much about the sport, about all the rules. There were so many things I didn't know, and yeah, what it means to get this aero helmet. And my first race as a pro was with a 10-year-old TT bike. So really not really aerodynamic or stuff, a normal helmet. Yeah, and I'm still improving and learning. So there are so many steps I did in this last 2 or 3 years. So since this season, I'm riding with a disc wheel and stuff. Like I didn't use these things before. But it makes a difference. It's just like I always told myself, no, Sarah, you have to ride by your own. It doesn't matter which bike or so you have. But I learned it makes a huge difference. And there is still a lot of room for improvement for me regarding the material and stuff. Yeah, and that's probably one thing that I really love to compete as a pro, but sometimes I wish it would be like not that tricky to have the best material, to have this everything as aero as possible. And so that's probably a little bit more funny when you're just competing as an age group athlete. So I know there are a lot of age group athletes who have definitely better material than I have because they're just in love with this game. But yeah, when I competed as an age grouper or even in my first pro year, I didn't think about all this, and somehow I enjoyed to not think about all this things. And yeah, I guess that's the biggest learning I had during the last seasons. that you have to optimize really everything to get on your best level. So you have to optimize your recovery, your training, your material. Yeah, and it's fun, but sometimes I'm just like, oh, that's too much, to be honest. Yeah, and this was the biggest learning, I would say.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And I can imagine that being a professional and, like you said, focusing on so many things and basically looking for marginal gains wherever you can find them can be very difficult. And if I understand correctly, you said that these things are basically mostly psychologically difficult for you. But when you were talking about equipment, one other question popped into my mind, and that is when somebody is young and a new professional, they usually don't have that much support and that much sponsors and money and everything. So how do you navigate all these equipment changes and getting the best bikes and getting a disc wheel and all the other equipment when it comes to money? Do you have a lot of support, a lot of, let's say, sponsorship deals, or do you have to navigate this all by yourself?
Yeah, that's the good question. So I've got a few sponsors and one really, really good sponsor. That's a Cube Store. That's a Cube Store, Cube Store Weiden. I've got a big logo on my tri suit, and they're really caring a lot, and they're providing a new bike for me for next season. And they gave, for example, a mountain bike and everything. And so they're supporting a lot, really a lot. I couldn't wish for a better sponsor in this, for this. Yeah, and the rest, like traveling costs and everything. The last 2 years, it was like I finished in a good position, so I earned prize money, and that's how I pay for traveling and accommodation and everything. Yeah, and so as I already said, I studied for the last 5.5 years, and I got this lucky position that I didn't have to work because I got this scholarship. So it's from Germany for when you're a pretty good student, you get like money because you are a good student and they want to support you, and that's how I paid everything. So I paid my flat and stuff like this. But when it comes to sports equipment, it's most of the time like I earn money in a race and I spend it again on better equipment and stuff. Yeah, that's how it works for me.
Yeah, sounds very difficult and definitely not a nice position to be in, especially when you look at, I mean, we just had, let's say, Ironman World Championships in Kona
Yeah.
and in Nice a month before, and you look at all this equipment that the best professionals have, and they have it all figured out and all dialed in, and your eyes just pop out. And then you look at your own equipment, or I look at my own equipment, and I just think to myself, like, even if I push the same watts as they do, like there's no chance that I can compete with them because they're gonna go 5 kilometers per hour faster just because they got this rocket ship instead of a bike.
Yeah, I got your point. So I don't get me wrong, I've got a really good bike at the moment. So it's yeah, but a pretty let's say an older Cube Aerum without disc brakes and stuff. But yeah, somehow I managed to get a lot of best bike splits this season, even with this not optimized equipment. So hopefully with my new bike next season, it will get like a little bit more faster. But somehow I think like in the end, sometimes it's just like 1 watt, for example, it makes more difference if you have another helmet than when you're wearing this aero socks, for example. So there are these huge things where you really have to invest, definitely have to invest. And then there are a few smaller things which definitely make a difference if you sum them up. But you can decide by your own what you think is really necessary at the moment and what you can keep in mind for the next season to have more room for improvement. And at the moment, I'm like, okay, I think I have a lot of room for improvement. So when I get better and probably get better sponsors and get more possibility to work on the equipment and aerodynamics and everything, then yeah, I've got this room for improvement. You know what I mean? So it's not only the real power I've got, because I think that's like already pretty good, especially on the bike. There are other things I can change to get even better, which other pros probably don't have because they already have the best equipment. So yeah, somehow it's like not cool to know you've got not the best equipment and aren't really able to compete on the same level. But on the other hand side, you have this in your mind. You know, and you can change this in the future. Then you're going to make a huge step. Only because you're using different equipment and doing aero testing and bike fitting and all this stuff.
Yes, I understand completely. And that must be very satisfying for you, because I was looking a bit at your results list, and I saw that in this year you achieved your first and also second podium at the races. But I'm wondering, from your perspective, which result are you most proud of, or what do you think has been the biggest success so far, in your opinion?
Yeah, so to be honest, this first pro podium meant a lot because I was just working so hard for this first podium, and yeah, I was just so relieved after St. Pölten that I just reached my goal for the season, and it was just my first race in this season. But on the other hand side, sometimes it's more like not satisfying, but you're learning a lot in races that don't work out as you wanted them to do. So I learned a lot this season. I tried this back-to-back racing twice, and it didn't work out twice. So, but you know, in these races, I learned that you always can finish the race, even if it's not a good result, and there are other pro athletes in front of you, and you know, okay, normally I would be so much faster, and yeah, but I don't know how to say it. It gives you some kind of satisfaction to still reach the finish line. And my biggest achievement this season definitely was to get to this finish line in really every race, even if there were a lot of moments where I just thought, okay, quitting would be so much easier. But I always reached the finish line, and this was just the the biggest achievement, not a real place, you know, ranking or something, but this was the biggest achievement, even if I'm really proud of my 2 pro podiums.
Yeah, that's a very interesting answer. I wasn't expecting it, but I completely understand, because it also shows your resilience and dedication to get things done and not just quit when the first thing gets difficult. And also, you didn't just finish the races, because one thing that stood out is that you came in top 7 in all of the races this year, which is also a pretty remarkable result. But you said that a lot of things didn't go your way in these races. And I'm wondering, what keeps you going when the things get hard? It could be either in racing or in training.
For me, I'm a person that always tells herself, so quitting is normally never an option. So only if you're really sick, or you know, something definitely hurts that much, so you realize it's not clever to keep on going regarding your health. But I just would never quit a race, because I know this feeling. I could imagine, because I never did, but I could imagine this feeling to stop the race only because you don't feel like your best in this moment. it's not good. So there was one race, it was Triathlon Köln this year. I started there quite spontaneously, and it was a really, really bad race. So it was the worst race of the season. And yeah, I started running, and after 2K into the run, I spotted my boyfriend. And I just cried and told him I want to quit. I don't want to keep going. I don't enjoy this race, and I just want to end this feeling, you know? And he asked me whether I've got any, if I'm feeling sick or something. And I said no. And then he just reminded me, yeah, then you keep going. So even if you're jogging or your way to the finish line, you keep going. So then it's a good training. It's a good mental training. You don't quit. And it's, for me, I feel like I wouldn't, I missed the word. So the first three girls wouldn't feel like they really achieved something when everyone else just quitted the race, you know? Then you're just the only girl or the only three girls that reach the finish line, and that's why you're third. So you have to say, well, the other girls just had a better day, and they have bad days as well. So I'm proud of them that they had a good day and that they had the ability to push that much on that day. I just couldn't, but that's okay. And so we are not machines, you know, we are just humans. And a human being isn't able to have the best day every day. Yeah, that's like, I don't know, that's what keeps me going, even if I just want to stop.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great answer. And it's also very nice to hear that you have this support in your boyfriend who shares basically the same values and the same mindset as you. And even when you get into a rough patch, he is the one who reminds you that you have to keep strong and keep going. That's very nice to hear.
Yeah, he's always like, he's feeling so bad when he tells me something like this during the race, because all the other spectators are like, just why didn't he allow her to stop when he wants to stop? And then he just goes a few meters into another direction, so the other spectators didn't hear that don't hear him, and then he just shouts and said, just keep going, keep going. There's no option to quit.
Yeah, but what seems maybe not convenient or not appropriate in the moment is not the same thing that seems appropriate after the race, because probably if you quit, you would then maybe the same day or the next day look back and think to yourself, why did I quit? Why didn't I keep going? So sometimes you need to hear something that maybe you don't like in the moment, but you need to hear.
Yeah. So it's already a bad feeling if you finish the race and know you didn't give your best, because you just I just wasn't able to give my best mentally, you know. Sometimes it's just not the body that can't push. Sometimes it's my mind that can't push. So in this race in Köln, it was just my mind that told me, no, we just don't want to do this again just 1 week after the other race. And it doesn't feel good when you finish the finish line and the other girls tell you, oh, Sarah, you aren't looking exhausted. Did you even push? And I was just like, no, I didn't, because I wasn't able to. But I would say, and I can imagine it's even more, you're even feeling worse if you really stop. If you really stop, then just then it's not only I didn't push and didn't give my very best in this moment, and I stopped. I just quit it. And in such a case, I can at least tell myself I gave everything I had, and this was just, there wasn't just nothing, there was not more to give, because it was my mental maximum on that day. It was the maximum to even reach the finish line, and that was everything I had. And yeah, I wasn't really happy after the race. Don't get me wrong. I didn't pass the finish line and was like, oh my God, I finished this race. But I was like, at least I finished the race. So,
Yeah, I understand that. And I think that this is a nice mindset to have. I also have this mindset. I don't quit unless they force me to quit, because I would otherwise, I don't know, pass out or something. So I think that this is a nice approach to racing. But if I take step back a bit, because you said that you were studying for quite a long time before. Can you tell me maybe what were you studying, and do you work now besides being a professional triathlete?
So I studied mathematics and economics. I did my bachelor and master's degree. And after finishing university in June, I decided, okay, I will give myself this summer to just focus on triathlon and concentrate on training, racing, and recovery. But I don't know, maybe after 3 months, I already realized it's just not enough. You know what I mean? It's just like I don't feel good to just, that's a big just, to triathlon. I need something besides triathlon. And then I started to read a lot of books and everything, and I realized I need to get a job. So the first thought in the beginning of the season, the first thought was, okay, maybe I will take a whole year to just concentrate on triathlon. But as I realized only after 3 months that it's not what I want to do, I got myself a job now. So I was looking for a job. I wrote no, not a lot of applications. I wrote a few applications. And yeah, now I'm going to start working at the 1st of December. But I'm doing only a 20 hours per week part-time job to still have enough time to train, to recover, and to socialize. So to spend time with my boyfriend and with friends. Yeah, because I'm not only triathlon person. I need other things like sometimes partying or stuff as well. I'm not a 100%, my life is only full of triathlon person. I've got a few more things that I really love to do, and I will give them the room they need. So
Yeah, that's very nice to hear. I'm happy for you that you got the job, and I wish you all the best already,
yeah.
both at your job and in your professional triathlete career. And I hope that you're gonna balance both very good. But this is also a nice segue into not so much triathlon related questions, because you said that you also like to do some other stuff besides triathlon. So besides triathlon and in the future working, which things do you do that make you happy?
A lot of different kinds of things. So I really love to spend just quality time with my boyfriend, to go out for a coffee or to do a beautiful walk in the mountains, because I'm living in Nuremberg now, but I'm originally from near Munich, so like in the mountains, and I love to spend time in the mountains. So in off season, I'm doing a lot of trail runs in training, and beside training, I just like to go, yeah, up that mountain to enjoy the view, to go climbing, to, yeah, just visit Chiemsee. It's like a really huge lake next to my home, to my parents' home. So I like to spend a lot of time in nature, not only doing excessive triathlon training. And yeah, of course, as I'm a girl, I really love to do some kind of shopping. With, as I've got as well some friends that are not into this triathlon thing. We just meet for coffee and like shopping afterwards, or go to the cinema and, I don't know, meet for lunch, all these usual things that are not only triathlon things. I really love to study. That's crazy, I know, but I always loved going to university. I love to learn new things. And yeah, sometimes when my boyfriend's still studying, he's studying mathematics and physics. And sometimes I'm just sitting next to him, watching him doing his homework, because I just love to. Yeah, that's the things I love to do, spending time with family and friends.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's very nice to hear. And this also leads to my next question, because I'm wondering, what is one thing that you wanted to do for a long time, but just haven't done it yet?
One thing, wow, that's a difficult question, because normally I somehow manage to do the things I want to do quite soon. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just at the moment I'm really happy with life and everything and how it works out at the moment.
Hey,
If I'm like I want to party now, then I'm just texting a friend of mine and say, "Come on, let's go partying next Saturday." And I will take training on Sunday a bit easier. Or tell my coach we have to make it easier on Sunday. I can start again on Monday. I'm not this perfect professional athlete, you know. I'm taking things serious for sure, but sometimes I'm just a normal person and I want to keep my life. So probably one thing would be to make a huge journey. So probably to Japan or something, but that's nothing that I want to do now, you know. It's like sometime in the future I want to do this. Mm, the only thing I was really thinking about, but I'm not doing as I'm trying to continue my professional career, is um, getting my doctor's degree. So, like, to continue with the university for 5 or 6 more years, because this was like a childhood dream I always had. And yeah, but for now, I'm like, I will start working, I will do this triathlon thing, and whenever I want to change something, I can still do. I'm only 26 years old now. I think I've got a lot of time left. I hope so. And yeah, that's probably this big journey, but more like this getting my doctor's degree would be a childhood dream. Yeah, but yeah, that's it. So I'm pretty happy with my life.
yeah, that's what I wanted to say earlier. I think honestly that this is the best answer you can give because it sounds like you live a very balanced life and you have no regrets. Like you said, if you want to do something, you just do it. Like, why would you restrict yourself? I think that this is perfect.
Yeah,
And
because in my opinion, you always need a healthy mind to get your best results and to perform the best way you can. Because when you're going into this competition, already knowing you're super exhausted because you didn't see your friends, you didn't see your family, you just focused all on training and you're like somehow regret to miss some birthday parties or stuff, then so I'm only talking for myself, I couldn't do my very best in this race because I would do it. And whenever it gets hard, I would be like, why? Why? I could have done all these other things, but I didn't. And then you start regretting and then you can't do your very best. So I try to not restrict myself a lot during everyday life to have this full power during race season. Because then I really have to restrict myself a bit. Then I'm not going for a party like 1 week before an important race. But until March or something, it's more like even my coach tells me, Sarah, a little party is always a good idea. So just go for it. We can plan that it works out even when you're going for this party now.
yeah, I like this. I like this answer very much. If we move forwards now, what is your favorite meal? And if you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
I think, and I think that's the most common answer probably, pasta with vegetables and parmigiano.
Yeah, a lot of people say pasta in some kind of a way
Yeah.
because I think it's the most versatile and it's also very nice if you're a professional triathlete because it gives you a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And what is your guilty pleasure?
Um, Netflix binge watching, probably. Sometimes.
Yeah, that's nice
Yeah.
because it pairs well with recovery, right?
Yeah. And then I'm just like, oh, the sun is shining outside, but I have to finish this season. So I'm hopping on the Indoor Trainer to just continue watching the season or the episode or whatever. Yeah, that's maybe when people say, Sarah, the weather is beautiful outside. Why are you riding inside? I need to watch this now. I can't wait for 2 more hours. And I would say, yeah, like Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever. Binge watching is, yeah, something I couldn't live without.
Okay, that's very nice. Which song gets you pumped up the most?
Changes a lot, I would say. Normally, I've got this interval playlist on Spotify for interval training on the indoor trainer. But there's one song and I put it on repeat for sometimes 1.5 hours. And then I do this for like 2 weeks. And then whenever I hear this song, I'm not, no, change it. I can't hear it anymore. And then I hop to the next song. And yeah, but it's like most of the time it's some kind of electronic house music with a lot of with a hard rhythm. So depending on the rounds per minute I'm doing on the bike. So when I'm doing low cadence intervals, then it's more like slower and but there's not only one song, it changes a lot, but whatever works for me are our songs, to be honest. They're always working. That's not house or electronic music, but that's a happy vibe for me. Just putting in this our playlist and there we go.
Okay, that's an interesting answer, but also a very nice one. You were talking previously about some of your goals, especially getting a doctorate in school. But now I'm wondering, what is the goal or the thing that you want to achieve in triathlon?
I'm always setting myself like pretty small goals because I don't want to put too much pressure on myself because I know I'm not not a good performer when I'm putting too much pressure on me. So for next season, there's like only the goal to try and give my very best to qualify for the 70.3 Worlds in Spain next season. And yeah, when I'm going to start line, I'm always telling myself I will do the best I have that day. And when I'm reaching the finish line and I can tell I did my really very best, then I'm like, I reached my goal. So this last race I did this season was Challenge San Remo and I finished fourth. So like not far away from the podium, but I I was not disappointed because it was really the best I had that day, and I reached the finish line because I was just happy that I did a great run. My goal was to run like this 1:24 because I struggled a little bit with this time the two races before, and I just said myself I want to give everything I have and try to have one great run performance. And yeah, that's what I got, and then I was happy. So my goal for next season is to just always give my very best, to not lose fun while doing this kind of sport. And yeah, the official goal is to try to qualify for the Worlds, 70.3 Worlds. That's the main goal. And everything else is like, we will see. I'm living like we will see. I don't even have my race schedule for next season now. I'm like however I feel. I always go on feeling, to be honest. When I don't feel like doing this race, I'm not doing it. When I really feel like I want to do one more race, then I'm doing one more race. So I don't want to put that much pressure. I'm not setting any goals regarding time. So I would never say my goal is to run a half marathon next season. That's like I know I can do better, and I already know that I could have done better this season. When I look at my training stats, like a 1:24 minutes half marathon isn't what I really can do. But as I struggled a lot in the mid of the season, I was happy with this at my last race. But yeah, the goal is always to improve and to give my very best. Probably I should work on this to set specific goals. Yeah, this just would be nice to get some more podiums next season.
No, but I think that you have a nice approach because basically you just want to give your best and do your best at every race that you go to. And I think that there is not much more than you could do, because like you said, the times vary even from course to course and depend a lot of the weather, and also the results don't depend completely on you, because if you end up in a super stacked race with a lot of high-end competitors, then you can have a perfect race for you and finish, I don't know, in 10th place because 9 of the best athletes in the world were in front of you and there's nothing you can do. But I think that your approach is very sound and a nice approach to have, an approach that many other people should adopt as well.
Yeah, because as you said, I'm like, it's quite difficult to set this goal to always get under the top 5 in any kind of race, because it really depends. Am I doing pro series races? Am I doing smaller challenge races? Am I going to, I don't know, Brazil or somewhere to compete there? Then it's like somehow easier to get a good position than competing in Europe. That's just it. That's like it is. And I feel like I wouldn't be honest to myself when I set myself the goal to probably like win a pro race, and then I just go to, I don't know, wherever and win a race with I don't know, 5 other pro athletes at the start line, and but I can tell I won a race and that's not my goal. So better I finish in a 5th place in a really good field than finishing first when there is no yeah, when it's not that difficult, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I completely agree with your view. And I think that this is also a nice place to slowly steer this conversation towards the end. And at the end, I let a guest leave a question for the next guest that is coming on the show. My previous guest was Tina Chrisman. She's a professional triathlete from Germany, but is currently based in the United Kingdom. And she wants to know, what is your favorite recovery session?
Recovery is a shakeout ride. A shakeout ride with my yeah, you mean you don't think about swim, bike, run, or is a recovery bike ride a recovery session?
Tina said that your heart rate has to be somehow elevated, but it also doesn't have to be strictly swim, bike, run.
Okay, but then it's still an evening sunset shakeout ride with my boyfriend at a really low heart rate, probably by like 100 bounds per minute or something, just to shake out the legs and have a nice conversation and enjoy the nice weather. That's my absolutely favorite recovery session.
Okay, that sounds very nice. And what is your question for the next guest on the show?
Mm, what's your perfect after race dish?
Okay, that's an interesting one. And I can already sense that we're going to get an interesting answer. And if I return the answer to you, what is your favorite post-race dish?
It's always pizza and ice cream, every race. When it doesn't matter if it was a good one or a bad one, it's always ice cream and pizza every time.
Okay, I love it. I also like pizza very much. Ice cream, I don't usually get the chance to have it because they usually don't have it in that post-race area, but pizza is perfect for me. So I
Yeah.
like this answer very much. And it was a real pleasure talking to you, Sarah. And if people want to maybe learn more about you, follow you, support you, where can people find you?
And on Instagram, just like Sarah Schoenfelder. That's just my name, and that's as well my Instagram name.
Okay, I'm gonna put the link into the show notes so people are gonna find you more easily. But like I said, it was really nice chatting to you, and I wish you all the best, both in your triathlon career and in your new job, as well as in your personal life.
Thanks a lot, and thanks for having me. I really enjoyed the past half an hour. I don't know how long we were talking, but it passed by really quick.